Okay, go ahead and do this. Thank you. Okay, can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Namo Fundamental Teacher Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Sakyamuni Buddha. The unsurpassed, deep, profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million eons difficult to encounter. Now that I come to receive and hold it within my sight and hearing, about to fathom the thus come one true and actual meaning.
Okay, thank you. That's right. So last time we continue on the 12 link, dependent origination. So last time we stopped right. Let me see where we stopped. We stopped right here, right? So this time we will continue on this thing. Before I go on, is there any question you want to ask? And I just want to give you the time that you can ask me the question at the beginning. If any question you're not sure that you not understand it correctly or something that you are doubtful about, let me know, and I will help you out. Anyone? Tammy, you understand so far what we learned?
Yeah, I'm following along so far.
Good, that's great, thank you. Jenny and Lionel, you have any problem with this?
No, not at all. Thank you.
Okay.
No, I understand.
Something, how about you?
Yeah, Mofak, I don't have any question yet. No.
Are you at the temple currently or you are at home?
I'm at home, Thai.
Okay. I see. Jenny, you want to go ahead and read the doctrine of dependent arising?
Did you say Jenny?
Yeah, Jenny.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. The doctrine of dependent origination, the principle of condition arising, body, birth, aging, sickness, death, all sentient beings, mind, creating, staying, changing, extinction.
I'm sorry. I mean, this right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. The doctrine of dependent arising, origination, Paticcasamuppada, is the dynamic counterpart of the doctrine of selflessness, anatta. The Buddha said, one who sees dependent arising sees the Dhamma, and one who sees the Dhamma sees the dependent arising. So profound and difficult to grasp, a simple exposition of dependent. Arising sparks off the liberating wisdom in the minds of his foremost disciples. The Buddha meditated on dependent arising for several weeks.
Let's stop right here. Let's try to understand what we just read. Do you understand what you just read?
Yes. What I understood is that the doctrine of dependent arising is the doctrine of selflessness, like no ego, pure consciousness.
Okay, all right. One who see the dependent arising, see the Dhamma, and one who see the Dhamma, see the dependent arising. This is very profound teaching. So let me, so profound and difficult to, to grasp a simple acquisition of the dependent arising, spot up the liberating wisdom in the mind of his foremost disciple. Even his foremost disciple, it's not easy for them to have the grasp on the profound teaching of this doctrine. What in here is when we say the dependent, right? Internet, the doctrine of the dependent in origination, it means that whatever we see in the world, the form, right, the object, it's based on the arising of and the condition. We call the condition arising. That means it comes from the law of cause and effect. Right? For example, the apple, right? It needs to have the apple seed, right? So the apple seed is the cause. But the cause by itself will not be able to produce the apple. So the cause is the apple seed. The apple is the effect. That means the result. But the important thing to make it, the important component in here to make things to become the result, that means that the effect is the condition arising. It's so important. Why was that? If we have the apple seed by itself and we drop on the floor without doing anything, do you think it will turn into the apple? Kenny, do you think?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. It needs to have a condition arising. What are the conditions arising in here? For example, we put the apple seed on the soil, right? And we take time to take care of them. We watering them oftenly, and they need the sunlight, right? And they need time to grow. And all those things come together. We call the condition arising. Due to the condition arising, it turns the cause into the effect. Does it make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is so important. That's why the doctrine of the dependent origination also mean the law of cause and effect. Because everything comes, it's based on the condition arising. That means everything formed together to become the object or to become the whatever the form is. That form, it's based on the condition arising to make the cause turn into the effect. The effect, that means the form. That whatever the form that we see, that we call the effect. For example, our body right here, human being, right? This body by itself is not, we will not have a body, right? We already learned about, about the 8 consciousness. And in the 8 consciousness, the constant number 8, that means the alaya, is the store consciousness, that means the storage to holding all the seed. That means all the knowledge, all the karma that we create in the past, and all the experience and all the what we call it in this store consciousness, there are 2 divisions. It's so important. What are the 2 divisions? The first division, if we call the I think it's we call the C in division. The I think if I use the word correctly, the other division is we call the mock division. For example, the raw flower, right? When we see a raw flower, that means we see the image of the raw flower, and when we put that inside the store concept, that means the alaya, those images become the mock division. Does it make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. And the knowledge we know about the raw flower, for example, this raw flower is good in this season, it's good in this area when we plant it, and it's good when, this is how we should take care the raw flower in this way. And the raw flower will become beautiful and whatever. Those are the knowledge we call the viewing, the division of the view, if I use the word correctly. And that division of the view will be inside our store constantly. Okay. What does that mean? If we use the example for the human being, for the living being, the one we use the raw flower is the non-living being. What about if we use that for the living being? How do we demonstrate in the living being so we can understand the concept, how the condition arising? All the things we put into the store constant, it become the cost, right? It become the cost. But in order to activate the cost, turn into the effect. Okay, turn into the effect. We need to have the condition arising. That is the important component. This is where the doctrine of the dependent origination is all about. Okay. So that means inside the store constantly, we already have the division of mark, division of view about the raw flower. Let's use the raw flower for the example that we will demonstrate. When we see the raw flower, right, we will take that information in, and we will move that into the mind concept, that means the brain, into the memory, the short-term memory. But at this time, the short-term memory do not have the detailed information about the raw flower. Okay. One, that means the mana, the mind consonant will give the information to the mana consonant. That means the 7 consonant, the one is the attachment of the cell. And we know there are 4 layers of the cell. The cell delusion, the cell view, the cell price, and the cell love. Due to the attachment of the cell, therefore, the information is given by the mind consonant, the mana consonant. They want to know all the detail about the image that are given by the mind consonant. I mean, in this case, the raw flower. So the mana consonant, I mean the 7 consonant, will communicate with the alaya. They were asking the alaya, I want to know the detail of the raw flower. Can you be able to give to me? So if in the past we saw that we learn about the raw flower, those things will be the 2 division inside the store consciousness. And it will give the 2 division of the detail of those 2 divisions to the mana, to the mana consciousness, right? And the mana consciousness, what they do is they compare the result with the initial data coming from the mind consciousness. And this is where the feeling arrives. Okay. It will trigger the feeling. And also when the result get back to the mind consciousness, that means the sixth consciousness, that is the brain. The brain, they have the short-term memory. And the detail of this raw flower will load into the short-term memory. Now we can be able to think, we can be able to visualize, we can be able to have the idea, the knowledge, and the distinguish about the raw flower. At that time, the mind will trigger the eye consciousness, be able to distinguish the raw flower. What does that mean? At the beginning, when we we have the knowledge, the information inside the store consciousness, those are the costs, right? It's in there. Those are the costs. But in order to trigger the costs, we need to have the condition arising. That means the eye seeing the raw flower. Those are the conditions arising. It will trigger to get the cause and form into it. Now we be able to see and we be able to think. We be able to know what to do with this raw flower, and we want to plant the raw flower in the correct way. We will do so. So it will trigger the cause, and the cause also helps to generate all the conditions arising as well. Did I confuse you, you guys? Tell me, do you understand so far? I guess.
Somewhat. It's still somewhat confusing.
Okay.
The rod makes sense.
Okay. So but for the apple tree, you understand that the example of the apple and apple seed, right? Is that easy to understand, right?
Yes, in the rose example, it's easy to understand too when you give examples.
Okay. So what we can do? All right. Okay. Let me. Right. So basically, for the condition arising, right? Okay, how about this? Let me give another example. Inside out, if we usually get angry, right? When we, let's say we have a habit of easily get angry with other people, even on the small thing, right? And although anger, see, is inside the store consciousness. You know what? Let me have to get where do I? Okay, let me just hold on. I am. Let me hold on. I want to share this thing some way that you'll be able to understand. To get that it constantly. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's do this here. Okay, let's continue on this thing. Okay, so let's say that inside the store consciousness, we have a lot of the anger sheet, right? It's in there. That means if we have a habit to get angry. So when we hear someone say something, and it's so the ear contact the voice of that person, and the mind automatically pay attention to the voice. Therefore, the feeling of anger arises so fast, so quickly. And you know what? When the anger becomes so strong, the mind cannot be able to think properly. That's what the perception, we will have negative perception. And that what kind of negative perception do we have? why this person says something like that to me. I will teach him a lesson. Due to that negative thinking, it will control we will have the negative action, right? That is how it works. So, and how do we apply that to the arising condition in here? So we okay, give me 1 second. Okay, condition arising, right? So at the beginning, the seed of the anger inside the store, that is the cause, right? That is the cause. It's there. But when someone says something and our ear contact those person, that is the condition. Due to the condition from outside, the feeling of anger arises quickly. So it will trigger the seed inside the store consciousness, or the cause inside the store consciousness. It activates those causes. The condition plus the cause, it will turn into the effect. That is the law of cause and effect. The cause by itself cannot produce the effect. The condition by itself cannot produce the effect, but the cause plus the condition, it will produce the effect. Therefore, the condition is we listen to, we contact that voice, and the mind also pay attention to that voice. That are the cause. It trigger the anger seed or the inside the storage. That are the cause. That's why we become the feeling of anger becomes so quick, so strong, and it control our mind, and the mind become the negative, and the mind control the action. That means we will say bad thing about other people, and we curse them, or we might do something hurt them. That is the effect. So the condition arising is when we hear someone say something to us and we pay attention. Those are the condition arising. It will trigger the cause, and it turns that cause into the effect. That is where we get angry. Does it make sense, Tammy?
Yes, that's much clearer. Thank you.
Okay, so the condition arising is so important. Whatever we see, the form, the object, even the being, we are here. Think that condition arise, form exists. When the condition ends, it will we call extinction. But they not a real arising, or no. When the condition arise, there is an existence, right? There is an existence. But when the condition is end, there is extinction. But they know something, but they not a real extinction. No, not a real existence, but not a real extinction. Does that make sense? That means they not a real, if for the living being, they not a real birth. That means they not a real death in the Buddhism when we look at that thing. Does that make sense to you, Jenny?
Yes, it makes perfect sense. But my question is, can you change it? If you can extinct the condition, can you change it?
Of course. Okay.
But how do you change it? Like, what do you do? Is that where forgiveness comes in?
Okay.
You change.
Okay. In the law of cause and effect of Buddhism, you cannot change the cause directly. And of course, you cannot change the effect, because the effect is not yet exists, right? But you can change the condition. So the condition, whatever the condition is, it will transform the cause into whatever the effect That's based on the condition. So the condition is the most important component.
So in this example, would you have to change the condition to forgiveness? Like,
Okay.
do you?
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, let's do this. So when we listen to other, when we heard someone say something bad to us, right? We pay attention to it, and also the so that means the contact and the attention, also the condition, right? And feeling, that means the feeling of anger arise so quickly, so strong. This is also condition, right? It's not yet turned into effect yet, because it's not in action yet. And the mind, because that means it's control the mind. And the mind have the negative thinking, that is also condition. This is all the condition arise, okay? But because the negative mind control the negative action, right? That the action is the effect. So how do we change the effect? How do we change to have a different the effect? What do we do? Which one do we change? We change the condition arise. The same idea, the same example. What we do is, yes, if someone say bad thing to us, we also pay attention to it. The feeling of anger, it arises so quickly. So this three condition here, it's also the same with the Rebirth example, right? But at this time, when we feel the heat on our face, that means very hot, right? And also our hand is shaking, our body is also shaking when we get angry. At that moment, you realize that this is what when you realize quickly, when you acknowledge quickly, and this is what you should do. You say in your mind, this is what you should say. I know I am angry. But anger is not me. I am not the anger. Why should I get angry? Because anger is just anger. It's just a phenomenon. It's not me. It's not I. It's not mine either. It's just a phenomenon. It's come and go. Why do I get angry? One, we have that kind of positive thinking. So the first three conditions, the same, right? We contact the voice. That is the first condition. The mind pay attention to the voice. That is the second condition. The feeling of the anger arise. That is the third condition. These three are the same with the Rebirth example. But the fourth one is the thinking, the perception, because we acknowledge, and therefore we formulate the positive thinking. So this condition is positive. It's different from the negative perception of the Rebirth example. So the perception condition in this case is more important than the other three conditions. This one will make the decision for the action. Therefore, when we have the positive thinking like this, and also we will think like this too. You know what? If I say anything back to him, just like I poured the gasoline into the fire, it will burn faster. You know what I should do? I will keep silent. I will keep my mouth shut, and I will take a deep breath. I will walk away. And you know what? After this positive thinking, this is also a positive condition. Then this positive thinking control the action. That means we will have the action that like the mind think. Okay, he take a deep breath. He walk away without saying anything. That is the positive condition change due to the perception condition. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Tell me, you understand it clearly, right?
Yeah, I like this. I'm not the anger. You can replace any feeling with that, right?
Huh? What?
I like that. I like your teaching on I'm not the anger. But you can replace that with any feeling, like I'm not the jealousy or I'm not the happiness or any kind of feeling that comes up. You can replace it the same way, right?
Yeah. So once you understand how to deal with our own emotion, you know what? We try to make our life more beautiful every day. This is important. The important thing is the difference between the wise and the intelligent. The intelligent, they do not know how to handle their emotion when the emotion comes. They do not know how to handle it. But the wise people, they do. That's why that make them wise and wiser. That's the difference between intelligent people and the one have, and also the difference between the intelligent people and the wise people. Does that make sense to you, Tammy?
Yes, because with intelligence, if you're not wise to your feelings, then you're just on a roller coaster anyways. So you can't have the wisdom yet because you're just trying to survive.
Right. Usually in Western, right? How do they measure? How do they measure the intelligent? Who is more intelligent than the other? They use on the what do they call? They call the what is it? I forgot the word. IQ, right? IQ, right?
Yes, that's right.
Right. The people who have a higher IQ score, that they are more intelligent than the others, right? But even though the most intelligent people in the world, but when they come to emotion, they do not know how to handle it. So they still not be wise. They only intelligent, but they are not wise. But if a normal person like us, we don't have the high IQ like them. We are not intelligent like them. But if when the emotion come, we know how to handle it. This is what we call wise. Well, I'd rather to be wise instead of intelligent, right? But sometimes the intelligent, when they make the decision, they could make the wrong decision. But the wise people, when they make the decision, they are very carefully contemplate on the consequence. Therefore, whatever the decision they make, it's always better than the intelligent people. And therefore, they will not have any remorse in the future. But the intelligent people, when they make the decision, sometimes they make the wrong decision. That costs them uh, the pain for a long time. That's why even the intelligent people easily get suffering. But the white people, they also have the same, we live in the same environment, but the white one have less suffering. Okay. The white one always look at themselves. That means whenever things come, even though someone accuse us, they point a finger to us or whatever they do, we always look inside instead of look outside. Therefore, we be able to handle our emotions. We don't find out other people's mistake. We find our own mistake. That's how we make our we can build our own character in the best way. So, so now we understand the condition arising is so important. With the with the Buddhist psychology model, that's very good. Robert, Roberto, you understand so far, Robert? Please, is that easy for you to understand? Right?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, okay, that's good. I'm very happy for that. Okay, that's good. So, when the Buddha said that the doctrine of dependent arising, that means they dependent one another, right? All the conditions they dependent on another. It's a dynamic counterpart of the doctrine of the selflessness. Why was that? Because condition arising, it's come and go. This is what we call impermanent. Therefore, the principle of impermanent is right here. When all phenomenon is impermanent, nothing in this world exists forever. There is no such thing called exist forever. They only last for some time, and they go to just like the living being. We have to go through birth, aging, sickness, death, right? But for the non-living being, we see that we know that creating. No, I mean for the non-living being, we see that establishing, staying, decaying, and nothingness. But for the mind, creating, staying, changing, and extinction. But even though when we say extinction, it's not real extinction. It's just transformed from one state to the other. Okay. Because of impermanent, right? Therefore, all phenomena have no self. Have no self. Because they don't have the true self. Whatever the object you see in this world, living being or non-living being, those things have no self. Does that make sense to you, Thong Thien?
Yes, all living beings or non-living beings don't have self.
There is no true self.
So there's no true self. Okay.
For the non-living being, for example, a table, right? A table, we have a table due to condition arising. We have a table. For example, the cost is the wood, right? So let's say the condition is we have the wood, we have the carpenter, right? We have the designer to design the table, and also we have nail and all the tool that for the carpenter to be able to make a table from the wood or from whatever the thing is, right? All those things together we call condition arising. Due to a condition arising, we have table. Then the table is not really a table, but we give a name, we label it, this is a table. But which part of the table is a table? If we take out all the parts individually, for example, we take out the tabletop, right? Is the tabletop called a table? No. Or we take out the foot, the leg of the foot of the table. Can we call the foot of the table is a table? No. Whatever the part of the table, we take it out. There is no such thing called a table. Therefore, there is no self in this table. There is no true self. This is for the phenomenon, right? What about the living being? Yes, we are. Let's say that my name is Tatyapat, right? But in this, how do we define the living being in Buddhism? The living being we define in Buddhism, we said that the Buddha said that we have five aggregate or five skandhas. That means the form, the feeling, the perception, that means the thinking, the mental formation. This is where the psychology come in, right? It's manifest, it's changing. The consciousness, it could be a consciousness or the alaya consciousness, the store consciousness. This five layer we call the five aggregate. That means AGGREGATES. The five the body and the mind for the living being. The body, it means the form. From the feeling to the consciousness, we call the mind. But even though the form, the body physical form, it's constantly changed, right? It's impermanent. And even though the mind, that means the feeling, the perception, the mental formation, and the consciousness also change. It's impermanent. So which part of this thing in this body, which one is represent for Thất Pháp? There's no such thing called Thất Pháp. And the name is given by my teacher, right? Or even though before I become a monk, I have my own name. The name comes from my dad, my parents, given me when I was born. It's just a label. And so we can easily communicate. But there's no such thing inside this body and mind. It's for that name. Therefore, every living being also has no self. That means no true self. Does that make sense so far? I hope. Tammy and Hung Thing and Jenny.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yes, Thai.
Good, that's good. So therefore, the meaning of the impermanent also give us the principle of selflessness or no self. But when we say no self, also it's equivalent to emptiness in Buddhism. This is the emptiness principle. Emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. Remember, nothingness is not the same with the emptiness. Later on, I will walk you through the concept of emptiness. That is very profound. And I can use the model of the Buddha's model to walk you through that. Using the Heart Sutra. The Heart Sutra, we read that every morning when we read the Heart Sutra, right? Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Even the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and even the ignorance and the wisdom. There is no increase and neither increase nor decrease. Neither pure or no impure. All those things we will learn later on. Okay? That is a very profound teaching. So now we understand the no self, well, somehow we understand the emptiness as well, and we also understand the impermanent. Therefore, the Buddha said, who see dependent arising, see the Dhamma. Dhamma, that means the true principle, the true law of the universe. That's what Dhamma means. That means regardless of the time and space, Dhamma always true. Therefore, it doesn't matter which period of the time, in the past, in the current, in the present time, and in the future, it's always true. One who sees the Dhamma, that means to see the true principle, see the dependent arising. When we see in this thing, and we always contemplate in this way about the impermanent, about the condition arising, about the selflessness, that means we will have less suffering. When things happen to us in the bad way, we do not attach to it, therefore we do not suffer as much as other people. But if we do not understand this concept and we do not practice with the contemplation oftenly, when things happen to us, when bad things happen to us, we will suffer a lot. Because we do not see dependent arising, therefore we do not see the Dhamma. Okay? I hope this will help. Cô quản lý, you understand this so far, I guess.
Yes, thầy.
Okay. Yes, this is very profound and very difficult to try. But with the way I explained, hopefully we can use that to contemplate our way. The more we contemplate, the more we understand the Dharma. The more we understand the dependent arising, the more we will gain more happiness and we will have less suffering. So with the wisdom, right? With the wisdom, usually that in the traveling dependent, the dependent origination, the ignorant is the first one, right? Therefore, when we have ignorant, whatever we do, we end up with suffering. But when we be able to transform the ignorant into the wisdom, and everything we do, we will have less suffering, but we will have more happiness. We don't need to go out and look for happiness, or we don't need money to buy happiness. There's no need. The only thing we need to do is to contemplate the true Dharma. That's all we need to do. Okay. William today he busy. That's why he not in this class. But anyway, I hope he will listen this next time, I guess. Okay. All right. Let's cô quản lý, you go ahead and read the next one for me.
Okay, at the beginning, thầy. The Buddha.
The Buddha.
Okay. The Buddha meditated on dependent arising for several weeks. He concluded, the Dharma that I have discovered is deep, difficult to see, difficult to understand. It is sublime, peaceful, beyond the range of reasoning, abstruse, to be realized inwardly by the wise.
Okay, good. You understand what it is, what the Buddha is teaching about?
Yes.
Why the Dhamma is that he discover when he do the meditation at the night that the time he enlightened, right? He become Buddha, right? He be able to discover this dependent origination. That means condition arising. This is the principle the doctrine that he discovered. It's deep. It's difficult to see, difficult to understand. Why it's so deep? Why it's difficult to see? Why it's difficult to understand? Can you tell me what the Buddha mean by this?
It's not as simple. It's he said here to be realized inwardly by the wise. I think you mentioned the wise and the intelligent people. Mm-hmm. That I think that is what the Buddha meant. The important part is he discovered. So this is the law of nature. This is not what he invented.
That's correct.
That's another important thing. It's not that simple, basically it's difficult to understand because it's as simple as it sounds, but it's pretty much like you keep doing that, but then you keep asking why. I think that's the true nature of this. I mean, it's easy. Like I listened to your conversation earlier about cause and effect and condition arising, and how is that related to the eighth consciousness? I think when it comes to if the cause, the condition arising will trigger the cause and turn that cause into effect, that has something to do with the eighth consciousness, and how do we not impacted by that? To me, I think eighth consciousness is something that's already there. It's pretty much your karma. it's been created since your past lives and all that kind of keep us, circling in the samsara. So how do we control? It's easy said than done. How do you control your feelings, your anger, your response? It's pretty much of that. So I think it's very, in this statement here, it's very difficult to see, difficult to understand.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. It's very difficult to understand. Even the one who Arahant, right?
Yes.
Then they still also, it's not easy to wrap. Only the one who Pasika Buddha, that is the one who practices this Dhamma. Okay. That means bất chi Phật, độc giác, quý ngài với thực hành cái bậc A La Hán, các vị A La Hán, it's they still not be able to see it. Okay. Before I explain this thing to you, let me. Thang Thiền, go ahead and read the next one for me.
Yeah, one time Ananda, his attendant, told the Buddha that dependent arising appeared obvious. The Buddha answered, "Do not speak in this way. This dependent arising is deep in truth, and it's deep in its appearance. It is through not understanding, through not penetrating the Dhamma, this Dhamma of dependent arising, that this generation of living being has become entangled like a matted ball of thread, become like grass and rushes, unable to pass beyond the woeful state of existence and samsara, the cycle of existence."
So what do you understand about this?
It's saying that that Ananda told the Buddha that dependent horizon appear obvious, but the Buddha say that don't speak this way, but the dependent horizon is deep in truth, that it is deep in appearance, so that it cannot be understood by the normal people. And for the normal people, that is like become entangled like a matter of ball thread. And these are the type of people that do not understand this Dhamma, and they are unable to go beyond the woeful state of existence in samsara. They're stuck in this cycle of birth and death.
Good. All right, that's good. Okay, before I explain this thing to anyone who want to add in this, who want to say something about this before I give my own explanation. So basically, in this teaching, right, the Anand one time he told the Buddha that dependent arising appear to be obvious. That means to him it's very easy to understand. So the Buddha said, no, do not speak in this way. This dependent arising is deep in truth and is deep in appearance. It is through not understanding, to not penetrating, that this number of the dependent arising, that this is the generation of living being become entangled like a mat ball, right? Mat ball of a breath become like the grass and was unable to be on. That means, for example, let me give you come back to the example of the anger, right? If people who have the habit of anger, right? So even on a small thing, they make a big deal out of it. When they get angry, they make a big deal out of it. Instead of we don't have, it's not a big deal, right? But when we make a big deal, just like we make just like the math bar, the more we if we continue doing this, and all those things become the math bar, right? And that means we cannot be able to unwind, right? We cannot be able to unwind, to unlock all those things, because we don't have wisdom, right? Because we are ignorant. Therefore, all the action, all the things that we do based on our emotion. If we go with the emotion, only suffering is there. That's why the Buddha said that all the emotion, all feeling is suffering. Doesn't matter what kind of feeling we have. The end result of feeling is suffering. Even though when we have a happy feeling, but when the happy feeling gone, right? The sad feeling comes, then we will suffer. Because it come and go, it not last forever. Therefore, when we attach to emotions, our emotion, or when we react, right, instead of react. When we react, that means we react with the emotion. Just like this, the example I give you with the anger. But when we act, the word, that means the positive scenario that I give, right? The one who be able to acknowledge the anger, that he know he is angry right now. He know the anger is not him, and he is not the anger. Why should he get angry? This is and therefore he have a positive thinking. Therefore, he act, he not react, but he act with the wisdom. That's the difference between act and react. React, we go by emotion. Act, we don't go by emotion. That's the difference between intelligent and wise. Okay. Because most of people like us, we go by emotion. We go by our feeling. Therefore, we cannot be able to penetrate the Dharma. We cannot be able to contemplate the Dharma of the arising condition. So when
So,
yeah,
I have a comment question. So, when you say happy, if you're happy, well, eventually sadness is going to come because, you have the opposite, you have the dual. And so what I was thinking is, you know how people say, love yourself. You need to learn how to love yourself, because if you don't know how to love yourself, then nobody's going to love you. So you have to love yourself. So I'm sitting here thinking, well, the opposite of love is hate. Well, if you love yourself, eventually one day hate is going to come. So you're going to someday, somehow, something's going to happen and you're going to hate yourself, because that's dual, love and hate. So I'm sitting there thinking, so I guess it's better not to have a relationship with yourself at all. Because if you don't, then you get to truly, deeply enjoy everything in life when you don't have a relationship. Is that correct or no?
okay. Basically, you are talking about the duality, right? That means good, bad, ugly, beautiful, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Happy and suffering, right?
Yes.
When you're talking about love yourself, and inside the man consciousness, there are 4 layers of the self, right? The self delusion, the self view, the self price, the self love. Love yourself, it means self love. That is not good either, right? Therefore, we do not attach to the material, to this body or to whatever. We should have the love, what we call as unconditional love. But how do we have this kind of unconditional love? If we look the Dharma in the eye of the conditional arising. So when things come and go, we know that it's impermanent. We not hold on to it. We don't hold on our feeling because feeling come and go. It's just a phenomenon. It's not us. It's not me. It's not I. It's just phenomenon. Even our mind, when we think, the thinking is come and go. That thinking is not me. It's not I. It's not mine. Therefore, we do not suffer. Because all this thing is just impermanent, right?
So when you love yourself, just don't hold on to it. Is that what you're saying? Just don't hold on to that.
Well, when you use the love yourself, that means you tie yourself to with the condition, right? So it means that when the feeling comes, right? We just acknowledge this is the feeling. It's not us. It's mine, right? It's not me. It's not I. And we try to detach. The more we detach, then the more happiness it comes. Because we don't suffer, that means it's happy. But when we attach, doesn't matter what kind of form of attachment is, the end result of attachment is suffering. Right?
Yes. Mhm.
So, therefore, the Buddha said that the condition arising or dependent arising is deep in truth and also deep in appearance. This is all the abstract principle. We don't see by our eye. We don't see through by our eye, but we have to contemplate in order to understand the impermanent, to understand the selflessness, in order to understand the condition arising. Just like the way I walk you through the example of anger, of the condition arising. If we contemplate oftenly, then we will see things in the way that, because that is how we practice, right? If the more we practice with the contemplating, that when we see whatever thing come to us, we use the eye of the Dhamma. We don't use the eye of the ignorance. Does that make sense to you, Tammy?
Yes, thank you.
Cô quản lý, you understand this? Why it's deep in truth and deep in appearance, and not easy to understand, not easy to penetrate, because it's abstract, right? Very abstract.
Yes.
This doctrine, this principle is so abstract. The only way we practice this is contemplate, and we have to make a habit of that. And the more you contemplate, the more wisdom you gain, and the more happiness you will gain. Happiness when you have wisdom.
Yeah. Okay. Is this true that Buddha, when he mentioned this, it's very difficult, it's very hard, he would, then that's also, he came up with the Four Noble Truths, right? To kind of help us learn how to analyze.
Yeah,
right?
the Four Noble Truths is more easier for us to grasp, right? To understand.
Right.
But the dependent arising is so tough, so difficult to understand at the beginning, right?
Right.
Therefore, we do not have wisdom. Therefore, we stuck in the samsara. That means the death and rebirth cycle for a long time. Due to our ignorance, we stuck there, right? Okay. All right. Okay. We will stop right here. I think I am about out of time. Okay, cô quản lý, go ahead and read it.
May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with heart of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and heart can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow lead their griefs and pain. May this bounded light break the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.
Okay, thank you. So we will continue on the mantra. Okay, today. Let me stop the